Welcome back to the MN Talk Show, everybody. Episode 23 of the MN Talk Show. This is a big one. This is probably my favorite so far.
Are you saying it's big because I'm big?
You don't have to put it that way.
Okay.
Pick it on you.
Asshole.
We could if you want to. We could if you want to. Nate's big, so this is the big episode. How do you say your last name?
Bouthillier.
Bouthillier. Ken Bouthillier.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thanks, boys.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah, this will be
Thanks for
fun.
having me.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the trek down here. I mean, you're a fucking busy man, so making time out of your day to come on the show is huge.
Yeah. No, as part of the reason for the trip even up here.
Was it really?
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
For sure. Just made sure I'm like, okay, got to time this right. I got other shit to do.
Yeah.
But you were one of the items.
You were on the list.
Priority list.
Like, why are you going to Minnesota? I'm like, I'm going to Minnesota to be on a real estate podcast. Like,
Yeah.
You're flying up there for that? I'm like, not solely for that, but it's definitely one of the reasons I'm going
Part
up
of
there.
the reasons.
up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's perfect. Are you kind of chatting about you a little bit? You're a junior hockey or coach and scout, I guess. Or
Yeah, scout for a team in the North American League.
Yep.
And then I coach my little girls in
Yeah.
the house league.
How old are they?
7, and my oldest will be 11 in a couple of weeks.
Okay. So yeah, those are fun ages.
Yeah.
Happy early birthday.
Yeah.
To her.
Yeah.
That's
And yesterday was my wife's birthday.
Oh, happy
Really?
I was up
late
here for
birthday to
that.
her.
So you guys are big spring birthdays then, huh?
Yeah.
A couple of them.
And then last time I was in Fairbanks was over our anniversary also, so I missed her anniversary and her birthday.
Oh, that's part of the job.
Yeah.
How'd that go over?
She takes it all right. She's good. She's a good sport. She knows where
you
the money
meet
comes
her?
from. I mean, she's like, I think that my wife works in finance also, makes a very good living, but
Yeah.
she knows, she gets
She
it.
knows.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She knows her role.
How'd you meet her?
We were
Hockey?
we both worked at a credit union down in Arizona.
Really?
So when I got done playing, so I broke my back my 20-year-old year, was done playing, coached juniors for a little bit, and then ended up back down in Arizona in 07. Got a job at the credit union as a banker. Ended up being like the number one banker in the credit union in like 6 months.
Hey-oh.
And then
Sounds about right.
yeah, so then they put you, and then they used to have a mentor program. So if you weren't in management yet, but you were like the top minion in the branch, you got to be a mentor. So I went to this training called Capable Mentor Training, and there my wife was. She was sitting there, low cut black shirt, and I'm like, I'm going to sit right next to her. Yep. Yeah, and then we happened to have the same BlackBerry phone at the time, and she was like, "Oh my God, we have the same phone." I'm like, "Oh, this is done.
This is fucking
This is
locked in.
done.
You want the ring now, honey? Or-
Yeah,
That's funny.
So she talked to you first? Or did you say hi?
I mean, you said
Is this
I sat next to her, but she talked to me first. Oh, and we went out on a date like shortly thereafter. Absolutely hated each other.
what?
why?
She got out of a relationship. She was being a miserable bitch.
Okay.
And like on purpose, like even now, like she's like, "Oh yeah, I was horrible."
Yeah.
So then we went out on one date. It was brutal. And then I had training again at the credit union at the corporate office like 6 months later. And I used to always look up like the roster of who was going to be in the class because I tell my wife this too. Like I dated a lot of chicks at the credit union.
Yeah.
Like 23, just done playing. I still thought I was king shit. So I would always pull up the roster to see what chicks were going to be in training from other branches. And I'd go, oh, now my wife was in the class as well. But then there was another chick that I knew had a thing for me. I go, okay, well, I'm going to sit next to the other chick and just wheel her for 3 days and make my now wife watch.
Yeah.
And I did, and it worked. And at the end of the third day, she's like, let's go get lunch, my now wife. And dated for a little bit, then off and on. It was funny. When we got married, after the ceremony was the pastor talking about how many times we were together and broke up.
Was it one of your buddies? Or like one of a good
It was
friend?
the pastor from her church that like she grew up in. And I'm like, this guy's taking shots at me.
Just shitting on you.
I hope he sees it. John knows I don't like him.
You're going to hell. My God.
yeah.
You're like a fucking light switch.
Yeah. So at that time, again, I had gotten into management at the credit union at the branch level, but then I was running my own hockey school as well.
Whoa.
And this was in the summer, so I was at the rink from 7 a.m. till noon every day. Then I would leave and go to the credit union from 1 to 7:30. We closed at 7.
My God.
Then I would work Saturdays all day at the credit union to get to my 40 hours, and still so I was just done. I had no time, so we'd constantly make plans, and I'd constantly break them because
You had so much shit
I
on
was
your
running.
plate.
And
Yeah.
again, you're just young. Like I was just trying to make as much money as I could, stay involved with hockey, do everything.
How old were you at the time? 21, 22?
23.
Okay.
Yeah, just turned 20. Well, that one I was probably 24 then at that go around. So dated for about 6 months, then broke up again, and then she graduated from ASU. And when she graduated, I reached back out.
Yeah.
You're like, hey.
Yeah, then we've been together since.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What a story.
Yeah, we got a good thing going.
Yeah. How old were you guys when you had your first kid?
Oh shit.
like
so
11,
she's 11.
so
So I was
29?
Yeah, 28 or 29. 29. Yeah, about to turn 30.
Good math.
Hey, I'm good.
Numbers guy. Yeah. So 29, and I kind of enjoy telling our story, especially like people. It's funny. We went to a wedding like I don't know a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And some of my little cousins were there, and they're not little. They're 30
Yeah.
something. But one of them was like, "Oh, I want to figure out how to be like you. Like you seem to have it figured out. You're doing well, making all this dough, all this good shit." And I go, dude, it's a process. Like when we got married, we were poor.
Yeah.
Like we were poor. Like I was at the credit union. I was an assistant manager at the credit union in the heart of the recession. So like 09,
That's got to be tough.
they got rid of all pay raises, all sales comp, everything. I made $29,000 a year salary.
Wow.
As an assistant manager, and as assistant manager, you basically run the branch, right?
Yeah.
Because the branch manager's off fucking around doing everything else. So I did that, and she graduated from ASU, and she got a job at Charles Schwab, making like 36 grand a year. And when she got that job, I'm like, babe, you were rolling. Ooh,
Yeah.
36. We bought our house, had
Sugar
our
mama.
first kid, all there, and then obviously we've been lucky enough to build a very good life together, which I like, is because like
You're, like,
why
side
she
by
gets like
side,
why
yeah.
I'm up here on her birthday. Like we've done really well for ourselves, but together.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Like started with nothing. Remember the first year of doing our taxes where we made 100 grand like combined? I was like, fuck, look, we made it, man.
Look at us.
We're balling now.
Yeah, and then 2 years ago, I write a check to Uncle Sam for over 100 grand
yeah.
for taxes. I'm like, fuck, how the world turns. Not that long of a time period.
I mean, yeah,
10
that's
years?
10
Yeah.
years.
In 10-year
People
window.
think 10 years is a long time, but I mean, look what you did in 10 years. I mean,
And still trying, right? And still
Yeah.
going. Like, so when I left, well, rewind, I was at the credit union, right? Ended up being a branch manager, did that forever. And they started where they'd put me at all the shitty branches because I got really good at fixing them. Like I
Right.
can manage people out, I could get the right people in there, get the sales numbers up, get them meeting all their goals, all the things. So I did that at about 3 different branches. And the last branch was like a mile from my house. I had fixed it all. And I'm like, what am I doing? Like I would show up to work every day and not have anything to do. So that's when the mortgage side of the credit union had been trying to get me for a few years. And that's when I switched over to mortgage specifically. And I was really successful at it right out of the gate.
Yeah.
So we had about 30 loan officers at the credit union. My first year I was like number 7 out of 30. And then after that, I was always generally like 1, 2, or 3. And then before I left, the last couple years before I left, I was the top guy and I managed all the loan officers on the west side of town, the west side of the state.
okay.
And then I left not quite 2 years ago on St. Patrick's Day. It'll be 2 years. I told them to fuck off and started my own thing.
Yeah. The Team Len Pro.
Team
Yeah.
Pro.
Team
How's
Len
let's talk about that for a little bit. How's that been starting it up? I mean, it's company, it's a business at this point. Like,
Yeah, so it's a
gotta be
certified
hard.
mortgage advisor team. So myself and my 2 other originators, we're all certified mortgage advisors, which is a step beyond just being licensed. It's like a certified financial planner compared to a financial advisor, right? So we're a little bit more, not a little bit, we're way more strategic than most out there. We get really down in the nitty gritty and like a lot of debt management stuff and strategy for the deal at hand, and then strategy moving forward. Like if I, through our discovery call and consultations, discover this guy has a desire to build a real estate portfolio, well, we will do that transaction with the end goal knowing this guy wants to buy 10 more houses over the next 10 years. So how do we start off with success now? And that may be like putting less down, right? Keeping your capital, being cash, heavy, so you have more options to do stuff. But yeah, so we're all, certified mortgage advisors, Team Len Pro, and the back end of our stuff is with Cross Country Mortgage. So we're not a broker. We're a correspondent lender through Cross Country, which means most people don't understand the difference. They just think retail broker. I still shop over 40 plus investors for the best rate and product, whatever, same as a broker does.
Yep.
But we're able to retain processing and underwriting throughout, where a broker, they have to send every deal to that individual investor to be underwritten, and they lose control over that file for a while.
Right. So you get to hold control. You get to hold everything by the balls. The entire
so I get to run Team Lend Pro and everything basically like it's an independent broker, but with the massive engine of cross country behind it. So they let me do my own thing, but I don't have to worry about all the ancillary bullshit. I could just plug and play into cross country.
How hard was that to get all of that rolling and find the right company to let you do that?
You know what? It was probably because it hasn't been easy, but it was pretty easy.
That part
but
easier than you expected.
But mostly because I just said this is what I want. Like there wasn't a discussion around it. It was like, this is what I'm setting up and doing.
Can you let us?
So we've been with only cross country a year. We were with another shop before that. That gave me freedom, but they gave me freedom just because they were a bit unorganized. It was more like, do whatever the hell you want. We don't care.
Yeah.
And they were a smaller shop. And it was funny. Shortly after we left, and some other a buddy of mine ran a team over there as well. We left to join cross country a year ago, and right after we left, they sold out to another mortgage company, and then ended up going bankrupt in the last year. That other mortgage company did. But yeah, I'm the only guy at cross country with the setup that I have. Of 4,100 originators they have at cross country, I'm the only one they've allowed to kind of set up this way. And the reason being, when we were getting recruited to go over there, Ron, the owner of Cross Country, flew us out to Cleveland. Myself and, again, another guy that runs a team at Cross Country, but his is, the Michael Freeman team at Cross Country. Like, he is on brand Cross Country, where I'm not. Flew us out there, and we got all banged up, had a great dinner. And at that dinner, Ron said, I got no problem with that. That's as long as mortgage isn't in your name, I'm fine with it. Like, great, cool. And then we joined cross country, and the head of marketing did not like it.
Just threw a fucking...
Yeah. She's like, this is dumb. Like, first off, nobody's allowed to be set up like this. Second off, it's dumb. Why do you want to use your brand instead of the big brand?
Yeah.
Like, I go, neither here nor there. Ron approved it. So basically we had to have Ron put it in writing, and then they took care of it. But since then, they leave me the hell alone.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, they let you kind of do your own thing. You get to run the way you want to run, and it's obviously working.
Yeah. I mean, and it's obviously the last 2 years for our industry has sucked.
Yeah.
Right. So I started it right as the wheels were falling off of everything. And when I left the credit union, a lot of people are like, you're nuts. Yeah. Like, you obviously have had a ton of success at the credit union. You'll continue to have a ton of success there. I was able to, you deal with upper management and those types of things. Things get convoluted. But on a daily basis, I was able to do kind of whatever I want. I was able to run my loan officers the way I wanted to, et cetera. But I just got, again, you hit those thresholds of like, okay, am I ever going to make more money like at the credit union than I was? And we made a ton during COVID. Like, I made more money than I ever thought I would in my whole life.
Did. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, okay, so I hit the peak here. It's never going to be here like this again. So let me start my own thing. And people thought I was nuts for doing it when I did. But I think it's one of those things too that, as the industry is shrinking, we are still growing. So it's easier to, grow your footprint. It's been a little bit easier maybe to get those new realtor relationships and things like that, because a lot of people are leaving the business.
Yeah. And I mean, the people that are leaving are the people you don't want to work with anyways, because they either suck at their job, they can't hold their own business, or like sustain their own business.
Yeah. Or they were just order takers, right? Like they were, push button, get mortgage. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's, you don't have a tangible skill set. You're an order taker. You're taking numbers, you're plugging them into a system. The system is telling you whether or not you're approved. The system is telling you what paperwork that you need to get. And you go and get the paperwork and you're like, okay, I'm
done.
That's not
my job. Yeah.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah, you're not helping people at that point.
Correct.
You're just plug and play, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah. How's your team looking over at Lend Pro? I mean, like you said, you have what, 2-3 hockey players? They're all hockey players.
Yep. So and that wasn't by design initially, but it just started happening, and I was like, you know what, we got to just lean into it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, hockey has been my entire life, still is a massive part of my life. Have a massive network in hockey. It's like, okay, we're going to lean into it. So I've got Jacob Odegaard, he's also an originator, an advisor, but he's our client concierge, and he's really like my right-hand man.
Okay.
So I can stay out of the intricacies of my files more. So I always do like the initial consult, the strategy. I lay out everything of like, hey, this is how we need to piece this together for what needs to be done. When the application comes in, Odie does the initial review on it. And if everything matches what I had laid out, then we're good. He just takes my strategy and structures it accordingly. If the application comes in and they make, which often happens, substantially less than what they told you that they made up front, or they're like, oh yeah, my credit's great, and it's a fucking 620. Then I'm like, okay, I take it back over, re-strategize, readjust, lay out, and then he picks it back up and run again. But anyway, I got Odie. He's from Fargo-Moorhead, played high school for Moorhead, played a little bit of juniors, and then he had a D1 deal for track.
Really?
Ooh.
So
ran track D1?
I forget. I'm bad at that. I'm like, I have no interest in
God, you're a
track.
terrible boss.
Yeah,
Terrible boss.
I know.
Yeah. Zero clue about his workers.
Yeah.
God.
So so he's from Fargo-Moorhead, and he's still up here about half the year because his family runs a farm that they've had, a family-owned farm for over 100 years.
Yeah. You were just up there, weren't you?
Yep. Just up there. We were up there last night. Stayed the night on the farm last night. Really cool. They got like 2,000 acres.
Seemed like a great family too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So yeah.
They owned Fargo at that point.
I
My
was just gonna
God.
say he owns a farm.
2,000 acres.
2,000.
Well, that's what I said, and my reaction was the same. Like, that's a lot. And he goes, it's really not. He goes, we're a modest like family farm comparatively speaking. And I'm like, if I had 2,000 acres, I'd be happier. Than
Yeah.
shit.
What?
If I had an acre, I'd be happy as shit.
If I had 2,000 acres, nobody may ever see me again.
Yeah, right.
Like I would stay on my 2,000
Yeah.
acres.
Yeah.
Like,
Nobody. You don't have to bother anybody.
I would just hunt and drink bourbon and
Yeah.
that'd be it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
file deals left and
Hunt,
right.
fishing.
yeah. So I got Odie, and he kind of came to me by happenstance. So one of my realtors down in Arizona called me a year and a half or so ago. He's like, hey, I've got a buddy that's a senior at ASU that needs an internship for his senior year to graduate. Could you hook him up? So, and that was Odie, and had him in as an intern. He didn't know anything about the business, but super bright guy. He's got his degree from ASU is, I don't know, it's a business degree, but with a focus on data analytics. Okay. So he's a super bright kid. Not even a kid. He was born in 96. That's funny.
27?
Yeah. Hockey world, right? Like everything's
right.
birth year. Like they were the only people that talk like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, got him on, and he's crushing it for us. And then we got Adam Clevin. So Clev grew up playing for me in Arizona. So I coached.
Yeah, you were talking about this, and I wanted to hear this story.
I coached Clev from 12 to 18. He played for us in Fairbanks for 2 years, won a Robbie with us in 16, and then played at Eau Claire and ended up retiring before he graduated. Too many concussions. But yeah, so Clevy is my guy. Like, he is my favorite kid I've ever coached. He's always known that. I always told the other kids, like, Adam, Clevy's my favorite. Like,
Use him as an example.
I had him stacked ranked, and I'd be like, Mo, you're my second favorite, and you're my third. Like, every year they knew exactly where they stood. But yeah, Clev got done playing, and again, now years ago, called me and needed a job. So I got him a job at the credit union as a teller, and he did that for a couple years while he's finishing up school. And then he got into mortgage for another mortgage company, but as a secondary analyst on the back end. So that's reading margins, rates, margins with investors, selling deals to the investors on the back end. And then about a year ago, he reached out. He's like, hey, I want to get into, your side of it, and I want to do it with you because you
started me in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and it's kind of side note, like, I've taught that kid everything I knew, like, to a fault on hockey side.
Yeah.
So I was a defensive defenseman, never scored, had zero interest in the puck. I could snap it on your tape, and if you weren't there open to be snapped, it was glassing out, it was red and deep. I was going to crowbar you. I was going to elbow you. Like, and again, we're talking in 02. You could do all that shit.
That was easy. Yeah, that was normal.
So I taught Clev everything that I knew. He was an unbelievable defensive defenseman, but he had way more skill set than I ever did. But he's the only other guy to ever have a full career in Fairbanks that never scored a goal. him and I were the only two that have full
Really?
junior careers. So I say, can you
Holy
teach a kid
shit.
too much?
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
I rubbed off on him too much. And he was a top 4D, played all the time.
Yeah.
And
Just couldn't put
2
the puck
full
in the back of the
seasons,
net.
wins a national championship, and didn't put one in the net. So,
Holy shit,
Yeah.
poor guy.
so I'm sure he always appreciates when I tell people
Yeah.
that.
Ouch.
That's impressive.
Yeah. So anyway, Clev joined in July, and he's doing fantastic.
Yeah.
Like
He loves it. and-
he's killing it, and he learns very quickly. And then obviously these guys, I mean, I help him with everything, strategy on the back end,
Business
like,
dad.
Yeah, help him out with stuff. But he's catching on quick, and he's a young, good-looking guy. He's married. His wife's Jules is unbelievable. They're actually in Miami this weekend for her birthday.
Bet
but-
your wife's jealous.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
What a guy. What a guy you are.
She's not going to watch it. I'm not going to forward the link for this to her.
Happy birthday, sweetheart.
Yeah. So, but it's funny too, like, even like they got married on my birthday. Like, Clev and I are very like connected, even by just weird, like, they got married on our birthday. The song he danced with his mom at his wedding is the same song that I danced to with my mom at my wedding, that Clev went to at like 14 years old is at my wedding. Simple Man by Leonard Skinner was your dance with the mom song.
What?
And like literally as the song came on at his wedding, he's dancing with his mom and like makes sure to like find me at the table and like gives me like one of these like while he was doing it. Yeah, so like Clev's my guy, and like his parents, so weird. Like his parents went to church with my wife. His parents knew my wife before I knew my wife. So as my wife was in church growing up, it was with the Clevens. Like, so when my wife first came to the rink when we were dating, when I was coaching Adam, Adam's mom like goes up to my wife and is like, "What are you doing here?" She's like, "Well, I'm dating the coach." Like whatever. So we're very weirdly tied together.
So, like, if you were to have a long lost twin and like the same person, same family, like just different like connections, it'd be him.
Yeah, like again, we're like extremely similar, but not the same.
Yep.
But we're just so connected to each other in weird ways. But he's a young, good-looking stud. Like
Yeah.
he's like, he played at like 195, and he's like 240 now, just jacked. Just huge. And
I wish.
and that's why the road I was going down. And I had to preference that he's married, happily married.
Yep.
He's a good boy. He doesn't do anything he shouldn't be doing. But all of these smoke agents slide into his DMs about getting lunch. Like he's got 3 or 4 realtor meetings a week. I'm like, how do you get? He's like, I don't know. He's like, they're just DMing me.
Yeah.
I'm like, must be nice.
Must be nice.
Must be nice.
I got to reach out to every single one of
you.
I
mine.
tried to DM one of those chicks, like they would call the cops. Like, like, who is this old creep like DMing me? So I'm like, lean into it, bud. Like,
Yeah, use it while
might
you
as well.
can.
Like every other, and it's weird. Our industry is like that.
Yeah.
Male and female. Like the better looking you are, the more bites at the apple you're
agree.
gonna get.
Yeah.
I'm like, lean into it. Like it's gonna be a secret weapon for you. And until you get old, and then it may not be anymore.
Yeah.
It's like,
Use it
so
while you can.
Do it now.
You'll go.
Yeah, so we end up with a team, a bunch of hockey guys. And then with Clev having played in Eau Claire, with Odie being from Fargo Moorhead, and then I played at Shattuck 100 years ago and have a great network up here. We expanded Team Len Pro up here at the end of last year.
That's unbelievable.
So we got
And
both
you've
the-
only been around for 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
So nuts.
So, we got both Dakotas, Mini, Wisco, and Iowa. And I think that's going to be it for now. If we add anything else, it'll be Michigan. And that's just because I played my junior or senior year up in the Sioux up there. I'd still have a decent network up there, and I still got a lot of people that reach out like that I went to high school with, like for help on mortgages. And I again, same like I did here. People would call me, I'd coach them up, help them out. Then I'd say, okay, go to your mortgage guy and tell him this is what you want to do.
Right.
And I did that here for a number of years, which I'm not doing now, obviously now anymore. We're able to do the business. And I do that in Michigan, but I think I really want to focus on here right now and grow it. And
Yeah,
I really,
Minnie's great. You seem like a Minnesota guy, and even though you're not from here, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, when you said he was from Arizona, I'm like, there ain't no fucking
yeah.
way.
I'm like,
There
he's
ain't no
a
way.
Minnesota guy at heart.
well, I mean,
Sure.
I left home at 14, right? And you're in small town Minnesota, small town Michigan, small town Alaska. Like I'm a small town guy that just happens to be from Phoenix and have my office in Scottsdale next to TPC, and it's all bougie and bullshit. Like that's part of it, but take me to a small town.
Yeah, at heart, you're a small town hockey guy, family guy,
100%.
bourbon on a farm.
Yep.
Bourbon on a podcast.
Bourbon
Yep.
on the pod. Shout out to Bourbon.
Shout
by
out to the
way.
bourbon.
Too bad I wasn't 21 yet. And we'll have you back on for a part 2. We can slam
Yeah,
more bourbon.
Quick, it's only apple juice, I promise.
So yeah, man, we're just trying to really focus and grow up here. I want Odie to own kind of the Fargo Moorhead market. Like I want him to be the face of Team Land Pro there, and then same thing with Clev and Wisco. Like I want that to be his.
Yeah.
And then I'll just handle taking care of my buddies.
You'll fill
in the
in
city
where you
Hang
need.
around.
and whatever.
Hang around.
But yeah, I want to get them going and successful in those markets before I try to bring on something else. And we waited, we did Alaska. We added Alaska a year and a half ago, which thank God we did. It ended up being like 80% of our business last year. But I still waited. Like I made sure that got up and going and successful. Then I'm like, okay, now we'll go Midwest, get that going. And then
You did the smart business decisions and wait instead of just like
Trying
jumping
to,
the gun.
right?
And,
Like,
yeah.
just
I mean,
trying
you're
to-
excited, especially when it's a new business. You get buddies that are working with you now, and people are asking like, "Hey, when are you gonna come here? When are you gonna come here?"
Sure.
And you start getting anxious. You want to do it right away, but
Yeah, and it just I still get too horned up sometimes and do shit that I shouldn't be doing or prematurely.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. But overall, yeah, try to have a little pace, a little patience. And again, I don't want to expand up here and have everybody think like, oh, you're just trying to get more loans like out of Minnesota. Like, no, I want to expand up here and then provide value to the people that want to work with us, agents, clients, whatever. And that's what we've done in Alaska. We've been able to separate ourselves from the competition. I remember the first time I went up there to meet with agents, which would have been not this past October before. I was going over stuff that I thought was very, very basic, that every realtor in the Arizona market would understand or know. And I'm going over stuff with it. And it was like I showed them fire for the first time. And I'm like, oh, you guys aren't being educated. Like your lender partners you have up here are taking you for granted because you have limited options. They're not helping you grow. They're not educating you. They're not doing X, Y, and Z. So that's what really, and I started pouring into these agents and helping them out. And they're like, holy shit. Like, this is awesome. And it's been great. Like their trajectory, like their production, their social media, like their marketing,
Socials
their
are
presence, like everything.
Yeah.
They've gone like this because they've leaned on me and I've, tried to help them out.
yeah, you did a fantastic job. I mean, a couple of the agents up there I see them on social media all the time. Even if I didn't follow them, they pop up on my For You page every once in a while. So
Yeah, and there's some are doing it. Like Jewel does a great job up there. Her boyfriend Nick does a great job, and he started like just turning the camera on and talking. Like his stuff is not polished. Jules is very polished.
yeah,
like
I feel like it's a feminine thing though.
correct, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's her. Like Jules is beautiful, but especially for Fairbanks, like there's Jewel. There's maybe a couple, and then
everybody else. Yeah.
Don't air this in Fairbanks. But like, so she's got to, lean into that, right? Like that's her brand.
Utilize it.
And Nick is, an Army vet that got stationed up there and stayed. And he's a little bit more rough and tumble and, guns and jujitsu and cool shit like that. And he's a conservative guy.
Yeah.
So now he just turns his camera on. He'll let it fly. He'll talk politics stuff, whatever. Which,
Good for him.
Good for him. And again, that's a weird thing in our space too, is like you never want to exclude anybody from your peer view.
Right.
But the people that more closely connect with you are going to be more likely to do business with you and stay with you. So it's a balancing act.
Yep.
We've kind of figured that out too. So like I'm sure you've seen some of the videos that like me and Nate have made recently. Like they're funny as fuck. Like we find them hilarious. Everybody else finds them hilarious. But there's that small group of people that are like, this is stupid. Why do they do this? Like this ruins our industry. Like
That's what happened in my viral video.
Yeah.
Really?
We like copied a guy in like Texas. He like did like a home. They call it aggressive home tours.
Yes.
And-
this is where you cook shit.
Yeah, it's like good shit. Like like okay, funny, right?
Yep.
I did a video of that, and it went viral. I expected like 200 views, 50 likes, call it a day.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And I got like 650,000 views. I think
shit.
actually it's like 700,000 now.
Dude, it's cooking.
I got like
Really?
Yeah.
300 like
Pull it up.
Because I saw that, but I had no idea.
Yeah,
It gone gangbusters.
it just blew up all of a sudden. And like all the comments are like, oh, if this guy was in Texas, I'd buy a home with him before even like seeing it. Like super cool. Like people were
Where do I
talking about
find honest realtors like
my
this?
tight pants or something because I had like tight pants
Yeah.
on for the day, just getting ripped apart. Like I don't give a fuck. I've been screamed at by hockey coaches my entire life because you don't.
You've
hurt
been
my,
abused in every locker room
yeah,
you've ever been in.
you don't hurt my fucking feelings.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
But it was funny. One of the agents in our office, she's in like this all woman's like real estate page on like Facebook. And that video got sent in there. And there was, this lady wasn't shitting on it, but she's just like, is NAR going to like change this or like make this a rule that you can't do videos like this? And
Is NAR going to even exist?
Exactly. Dude, it's going downhill so quick.
All the comments by all these females, unprofessional. It's ruined. I'm like,
this is why everybody hates us.
why? This is why you do 10 homes a
It's
day.
funny. So last week, I started a second IG account called the Lend Bro. And I made a video like, I'm like, and it's had this idea of like, I want to point out flaws in our industry without being like, don't go work for that guy because he sucks. Like
Like a
point
meme
out,
account type thing.
yeah. So I did, you know, and you guys follow those accounts like Corporate Natalie or Corporate Bro, and they do all the sales, making fun of the sales calls and shit. So it was kind of in that vein. And it did really, like, it didn't go viral, but it did about 50% better than the rest of the content I put out. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to lean into that, but I'm going to do it separately, right? Like together, like, so.
Together but separate.
Yeah. But yeah, our industry's so weird. That's awesome. I had no idea.
I'm just
that
like, why the
video
fuck
went
are you
viral.
guys butthurt? Like, I didn't care because they're all realtors and they're never going to buy a home from me.
Sure.
Like, whatever. I was just like,
But it's just like that's the difference between us being 20 years old and
it's our generation.
Other
our
ages being
generation
40
loves that
plus.
shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
There's a reason why it went viral.
Even guys, I'm going to be 40 this year.
Yeah.
Like,
Thought it was
obviously,
hilarious.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's obviously, I went and started a meme page basically called the Lend Bro. And I
Give that
my
a follow,
alter
man.
ego is named Chad Stallion, the Lend Bro. Chad Stallion.
Who's Chad Stallion?
He's just the Lend Bro. And this video. But yeah, it's just, I did
That's
this
unreal.
first one. It was like red flags for your first conversation with a loan officer. And it was like, oh, you want to buy a $2 million house? Sweet. No, we don't need to get you pre-approved. Like, yada, yada, yada. And then I hang up the phone. I'm like, fucking rights, boys. $2 million deal. Like, already celebrating like we got a deal,
I've
right?
seen something like that.
And then you know, the next guy that calls me is like, oh, and you're a first-time home buyer? Oh, before I talk to you, I need you to submit an application because I don't want to waste any time on it. It's in that vein of stuff. But that's where things are going. And again, if you don't do it in a, like, that thing, there's no hateful or disrespectful. You're not
Not hurting anybody's
hurting
feelings.
anybody. You're not going after a class of citizen or anything
Yep.
like that. And I remember seeing that one in Texas that went off first, and it was awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it was on like our local news in Arizona did like a fluff piece on it.
Yeah.
Like obviously it's working.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and all these other accounts. I mean, you're all these the broke agent guys. You know, Dan O'Neill and all those guys. Like they really kind of laid out the foundation for that stuff. And they're great.
Yeah.
Like, and you can see that their business overall has benefited from it. Even secondarily, like doing dumb shit like that, it might get you asked to be on a podcast. It might get you asked to be a speaker at something. And now you're just getting that much bigger of an audience and your sphere of influence is growing.
Yeah.
Because you did something fun.
Like one of the comments was like, "Hey, she saw like the video, and she commented like, "Hey, I do the open house across the street. Come do this here." And we're like, "Fuck yeah, we'll go do it there."
Hell yeah.
She wants
Sign-
us there, like, yeah, fuck
Sign
yeah.
me
Another
is-
agent from another shop wants
Yeah,
me to
right?
come to their
and do a
Like,
viral.
Fuck yeah.
Cha-ching.
Well, so we had that property. I'm sure you guys saw it. The property in Arizona that we had that was getting sold for $12.5 million.
Yeah.
The rink in the
Yeah, I
basement.
did. Oh my god.
But so many influence, but we got Eddie Lack down there, right? Former
Yeah.
NHL goalie, he's an agent. So he did the first video there. But then the Elevate guy,
Leave 08 or something like 80 or something.
Elevate 02 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Sweet
like
guy.
he just went and did a video down there in the house too. Like,
That's so cool.
but how great, and it's crazy. I mean, the house hasn't sold yet. It's a $12 million house.
I mean,
but how much exposure did that property get now from all of these other people and like Eddie and all these other, like, it's just awesome. Like,
across the country.
Yeah. And it's
Not
like,
just
if
Arizona,
They didn't do that.
country.
If they didn't have just one person come out and do it, like if they were just super stick up the ass, you book it through showing time type stuff, like nobody's gonna sell it.
well, that's when
Nobody's
I asked Eddie, I'm like, is that your listing? Like, it would make sense. Like, you're an NHL goalie. He's like, no, it's not even my listing. But they let him in there to do the content.
Yeah.
Right? And he put all so he helps out ASU. I don't think he's officially their goalie coach, but I think he basically is. So he had all like ASU gear on and was out there. Then his buddy, some guy from this, God, I space his name, like Matt something. But this Asian dude who is a musician or something now, but he played hockey in the Dub back in the day. and he came down and was shooting on Eddie, and they had a competition, and like they had a bet beforehand, like how many out of 10, and that guy got a whole nother stream of content out of doing this. At the house also.
How many spheres you can touch? Yeah,
why not?
it's unbelievable.
So that's awesome. You did that. It sucks that people, but you know those people that hate on it too. They're also the ones that are likely too chicken shit to get in front of the camera.
Correct.
Yep.
You know they don't have the stones to put them. It's like, well, it's not professional. I would never do that. It would make me. Well, it's because you just don't have. It's or maybe it's not your personality, or maybe you're just scared to do it, or whatever. But why shit on somebody else?
Exactly.
Doing it?
And I feel like the clients too. Like if there's a client out there that doesn't like it, you don't want to fucking work with those people anyways.
100%.
Like why waste your time?
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, I think it saves.
Yeah,
time.
it's
Save your
interesting.
shit.
And then again, back like I think what started down that rabbit hole, like the political stuff,
Yes.
finding your sphere. But at the same time, like I used to be super hyper political.
Yeah.
Like, and I would let it fly everywhere. And I would debate you on anything, argue with you on anything. I didn't give a shit. And then after the last election, basically, I was like, you know what? I'm just kind of opting out. Like I was finding myself pissed off like about shit. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to post anymore. Then it so happened. Then I started Len Pro and like, okay, well, I can't post that shit.
Legally, you
Starting
can't
this.
now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a whole nother, avenue too. Is like, are you discriminating against a certain class or are you excluding a certain? But I've casually now begin to post some things to my stories that, so if somebody follows me, you likely know which way I go on that. But that has brought in clients and realtors because they're like, you know, I just brought on a new agent down in Arizona and his page, he don't give a shit. His page is, you know, Christian conservative realtor, whatever. But he does a lot of business. He's a great dude. And he reached out to me because he just happened to stumble across somewhere he liked where I did share something political. So it's a balancing act.
I feel like it also shares like how honest you are too, or like what kind of person you are. Because like, there's so you got to know you and like you to trust.
It's crazy how many people like judge people just off of what side they go without even saying hi.
Correct.
That's what's wrong. I think that's like the biggest thing that's wrong with our world right now, or not even our world, but America is like, oh, you're a Democrat. Oh, you're a Republican. I fucking hate you just because you're on that side.
And nobody can discuss anything anymore.
Yes.
So he's my wife's good friend's husband. He's an attorney and he's a little bit like on the left side. Unbelievable guy.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite guys to be around because we can actually sit and have a conversation.
Yes.
And it's not like you're a wacko, you're a whack. Like we have a great conversation and we actually, again, agree on most things, like to a certain point, right? And then
agree to disagree.
And then, well, we agree to a certain point, but me being on one side may take things further this thing, and him being on the side may take things further that way. But he's one of my favorite, like whenever we go out and I'm like, let's have a couple drinks and start talking.
Let's see what happens.
Because I'm just excited. Because it's so hard to find anybody to have that kind of dialogue with.
Correct.
I agree.
And I like to think, that I'm a pretty, independent thinker. And I like to judge every individual thing on its own merit, whether,
Not
whatever.
based on other people's opinions and
but,
stuff.
but whatever it is, gun rights, abortion, whatever topic, like I like to evaluate every one on its own individual merit. Now, will I land likely on one side over and over? Potentially, but that's why I like to have conversations with him. And I think he enjoys having with me. It's like, we might change each other's mind on a particular topic at some point because you're just highlighting things or you think about things a different way but you're having dialogue. People don't even do that anymore. You just get, say, fuck you.
Get out of here.
I think they need to change the ballot and get rid of the D's and the R's next to it. Now it makes like people think.
Really does at that point.
Because now they got to actually learn about
Well,
it.
you got to know. Yeah,
you
you
do.
got to know. That's why I forget it was. Maybe it was midterms or something. Went to vote and got the ballot, and I only filled out like a third of the ballot.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't know any of these other people.
Yeah.
And where other people would be like, well, it's got an R next to them. Like, do it. I'm like,
Do that.
I don't know them.
Yeah.
I don't know them. I don't know what they stand for. There's a lot of shitbag Republican politicians too. Like, they're all shitty.
They're all bad.
Yes.
Like, so I don't know him. I don't know what he stands for.
not voting for that guy.
I'll vote for the four
somebody you
dudes
know,
I know,
yeah.
or the
Yes.
four things that I'm comfortable with and support.
And that's the freedom about it too. Is like you don't have to. If you don't want them, you don't have to vote for it.
No, just opt out.
Yeah,
Just
see ya.
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. And again, like as far as when it ties back to the business, but on the flip side, you've got agents that are gay guys, whatever it is.
Yep.
But they have got the gay flag in their bio, but that's become their identity in their business.
And they lean into it.
And that also providing now a service for, there's a client base that will only want to work with somebody that's like that.
Correct.
So now it's easy for them to identify, okay, that's who I want to work with. You know, they don't want to, maybe you don't want to work with somebody like me. They want to be like, but hadn't he put that out there, those clients wouldn't have been able to identify that they wanted to work with him.
For sure.
But it's that guy also now excluding the other guy that's got, you know, conservative Christian in his bio in the car. Like, but that's fine. But at least you guys have identified, okay, you don't want to work with each other.
It's perfect.
And you're also, but you have another swath of people that now go, I want to work with you because of X, Y,
Because of this.
It's interesting.
You know what I just realized is we're 35 minutes into this, and we've barely touched on hockey.
How long do you guys usually go?
As long as we need to. We try to keep it around 30 minutes, but like there's some people that like you're one of those guys that like we'll just talk.
We'll just sit here.
Talk. Yeah.
Okay,
Like,
let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Arizona hockey or Minnesota hockey?
Just overall?
Yeah.
Like youth hockey, just in general?
Yeah.
youth
just
hockey, NHL,
general.
like we know.
Not-
Minnesota.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy.
What do you think about the heights? Like, so I think it's a little weird that Minnesota hockey goes from 50, 60 games at the Bantam level to now once they get to high school, 26 games if you're lucky.
That's a detriment.
Weird.
It's a detriment.
I want your thoughts on that.
Well, and I think I've carried this thought since I played juniors, right? So when I was up in Fairbanks, half of our team was Minnesota high school guys, and the other half was midget AAA guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost without exception that the Minnesota guys were way more skilled, faster, softer, and did not have the longevity in their first season. They were like, especially up in Fairbanks,
Exhausted.
below
Yeah.
and everything else. You're like,
Yeah.
this is a fucking long year.
Different
and then
culture.
And then they miss back home, and those are the guys that homesick, but they are right. But part of that is the Minnesota, like there's so much pride in your town and your high school and all that stuff. So you miss that. But yeah, no, that's a massive issue. But when you have guys that coming out of, so I do most of my scout for Fairbanks. I don't scout Minnesota high school hockey. We've got Minnesota guys here. It's their world. I was a midget AAA guy. That's my world.
Yep.
So that's the world I scout. But those midget guys are playing 70 games a year at the midget level. They're playing a full junior season at the midget level. Like they're ready to run. Like the fact that their season goes from August to May at the junior level, it's the same as midget. Like they don't bat an eye. Where high school, it's like, it's a different story.
Huge jump. That's why a lot of the Minnesota players either suck and quit their first halfway through the season, or
I just think
barely
that
make it through and hate their lives.
it's a 3-month season. It's done like that. And some of these guys are playing 6 months still.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But that again flip side though. A lot of the best players that I've seen come out of Minnesota were true multi-sport athletes.
Yes.
Which is a positive thing. Your hockey player coming out of Arizona is likely not a dual sport athlete. They're likely only play hockey, because they're doing it. Their season is going to go from August to May, and then they're going to do summer bullshit. They're going to junior camps, also whatever it is that they're doing.
Out of the state.
So there's never a time off. And the dynamic of the sport overall is, hockey parents, youth sport parents in general, keeping up with the next kid. Well, that he's going to a camp or he's on the ice, all this, he's doing that. Like you feel guilty as a parent. You're like, well, my kid's not, I'm not going to have my kid on the ice for a month.
Yeah.
You feel guilty or you're missing out or whatever. But I mean, Minnesota hockey is special.
Superior, in my opinion.
Yes.
How's Michigan hockey, high school hockey over there?
High school hockey was dog shit. But
Really?
again, it was AAA. We didn't,
I suppose.
Yeah. So same as Arizona. Like Arizona's got high school hockey.
Yep.
It's dog shit. But the people that do it love it. Like the one side of the Coyotes practice facility, the ice center in Scottsdale, like it seats like a couple thousand people. They fill that thing for the high school finals.
Yeah.
Like it's a horrible caliber hockey comparatively speaking to what we know.
Yep.
But if that's all you know and you love it and you're getting more kids into the game, like obviously I was lucky enough to coach Austin for a minute when he was growing up in Arizona. Like the fact that he came out of Arizona is awesome and it's good for the game overall. But I'm also on the side of get the Coyotes the hell out of town. Like they needed to be gone a long time ago.
Where should they go? If you were the GM of the Arizona Coyotes, where are you moving them?
I think Quebec deserves to have a team.
I would say so.
That's fair.
I think that, I mean, I just think they deserve. I don't like the idea of Atlanta. It's failed twice.
Correct.
I don't think that you can pull it off in Utah, which I think is
No.
going to be the likely landing spot now, though, because the Jazz owner offered him $1 billion, which is the current owners bought it, I think, for like $300 million only a few years ago, and so they're going to triple their money.
Yeah,
and
they're like, fuck it.
like, so if somebody's going to drastically overpay, like, but I think that's a bad decision.
Do you see him going to the East Coast at all?
No,
I don't.
No.
I think it's too far. They've got too many teams over there.
I wonder what happens if you put a team in like Rhode Island.
It's too small. I don't think the
Yeah,
market.
I mean, do you have that population base?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's why I'm thinking about
But like,
Utah.
if that's all that Rhode Island has,
Correct, but it's what?
but is Rhode
But then
Island?
if it's a
It's
shitty
30,
team.
but it's still 35-minute drive to TD Garden to see the Bruins.
That's true.
That's okay. That's fair.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
so small and close.
Yeah.
Which we lose sight of. And it's just
Yeah.
so funny. I happen to be looking at a map like 2 days ago up there in that area in New England. I don't know why, but I end up being like, everything, like you were right
close.
there. Like it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
like Boston and New York City are right there. Like Philly and like it's not that spread out.
Well, we gotta-
comparatively speaking to what we would assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We got a friend that's in New York right now, and he's gone to 3 NHL games: New York, New Jersey, and then the Islanders.
Islanders.
Yeah.
In 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's like you didn't have to fly, just 30-minute drive each way.
Yeah. It's
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, they need to get rid of the Yotes. And I've told people, like, the fact that they came was great. It grew the game. It gave us Austin Matthews. If the Phoenix Coyotes never exist, an Austin Matthews doesn't exist.
Matthews.
But I also think at this point, they've turned into a detriment to the game down there. Like, as Arizona youth hockey is getting much, much better, like, that Junior Coyotes program is fantastic. They're sending teams to the national tournament every year like clockwork. The 16s and 18s both made it to the championship game for the Tier 1 Elite League playoffs. One flaw in me planning this trip was Rocky Mountain tournament is in Scottsdale this weekend right now. But, they're probably going to end up winning. Most levels will win Rocky Mountain and be at the national tournament again. So they're doing great. But now when people talk about Arizona hockey, you think about how shitty the Coyotes are. And the youth programs don't get their shine,
recognition.
right? Like, get them out of there. Lean into ASU. That's a top 20 ranked D1 team that's only going to continue to get better. There's a sick barn and everything else.
Their barn is sweet.
Let ASU be the face of hockey in the desert now, and let the Coyotes get the hell out of there.
Yeah, they got to go.
I
mean,
wonder how weird that would be from going to I look at the Wild, for example, playing at the XL Energy Center. And you got to come play in front of only 4,000 people on a small rink. No, it's a great college rink by all means.
Sure.
But it's not an NHL hockey rink by any means.
And I refuse to go to a Coyotes game there. I've yet
Because
to
of
see a
that?
Yotes game there. I got season tickets to ASU, but I won't go. Because again,
you won't go to the Yotes game, not the ASU.
I won't go to the Yotes games. I don't want to support them. Like, let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's kill this thing. Let's move on. Let's all stop pretending like it's all going to be hunky-dory. Let's stop talking about the chunk of land in Scottsdale that they're going to get. It's none of it's going to happen, guys. Unless, and I finally think that Bettman is finally over it. I think Bettman's finally going to allow them to leave, and I don't know why he hung on for so long. I think he made an agreement somewhere in a back corner at some time years ago that forced him to keep that team there way longer than it should have been.
I mean, dude, you've got an NHL team playing in a college rink. That's pretty low.
And still with no plan, rhyme, or reason on what the hell you're going to do.
Yeah.
And what was this, their second season there?
Yeah.
Or was this their first
No,
one
this is the
there?
first year.
Is it?
Yes, because this is.
Yeah, they just built it last
Is it-
fall.
I was gonna say.
It was completed.
Well, no, this was ASU's second year playing there.
Oh, it was.
So that's why
you're right.
I think the Yotes might have been the Yotes' second year in there.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I don't think it
we
makes
just
a
finished our
fucking
second season of having season tickets there.
Yeah.
I don't know. All I know is you got to walk like a mile and a half to get to the fucking ice sheet because of the locker rooms.
Yeah.
That shit's funny.
Yeah.
Those
Like-
videos are so funny. Austin Matthews walking a 3-mile walk just to get to the rink.
Yeah, it's they just need to be
not
done.
suited
They
for
need
an
to be
NHL
gone.
team.
They need to be gone.
Yeah, they got to leave.
And that's why they keep just lean into the Sun Devils. Like, you're not losing hockey in the desert.
Dude, to play for the Sun Devils, first of all, their uniforms are fucking sick. Their rink is fucking sick.
They got
Their
all the blonde
team's
chicks
unbelievable.
possible.
Like,
sign me
oh
up.
my God, to go to ASU as a 20-year-old, like,
Yeah, like they've never had an issue recruiting. Like, even when they played at Oceanside, which is a dump, which is the rink I grew up playing in. It's like, do you think how easy is it going to be to get a guy from Saskatchewan to come down and be like, you want to golf every day all year?
Yeah.
And do you want to have nothing but 10s around you nonstop?
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be really easy for you, like, to get some kills. Like, come play hockey down here.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
And that was before they were any good. Now you're a top 20
Yeah.
team with a sick barn, and the jerseys are awesome. They never seem to wear the same one more than once a year, too. They rotate through them.
If Oregon had a hockey team, like if Oregon's club team was a D1 team for like uniforms, it's ASU.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, so they're only going to get better and better. And Powers has done a really good job.
It's like St. Thomas, though, in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Look at them.
I would say so.
They're going to be so good.
Dude.
So brand new barn,
Yep.
private school. I mean,
Yeah.
sign me up.
And that's why I'm excited. Like, you know, UNLV is supposed to go D1 next. And I've heard a lot of conversation lately. People are like, it's not going to happen. And I think there may be some validity to that, because the only reason ASU happened is Powers, the head coach, was their head coach at the club level, played for them when they were a club. In a healthy way, he had an ego to where he's like, I'm not a club hockey coach. I'm a Division I hockey coach. I'm going to make this team a Division I team.
You had a point to prove.
He had a point to prove for himself, I think. But he was a financial advisor by trade before they went D1, and when he was coaching club, he was still a financial advisor. So when he goes to ASU and says, I want to become D1, and they go, okay, we need $29 million to do that. He basically went out and self-sourced it from his clients or sphere, and he made it a passion project, an individual thing, and he individually made them a Division I team.
So he had the tools to do it.
And I think he initially did it for his own ego. To be. Did you ever read his Players Tribute article from years and years ago? It was actually pretty damn clever, like hiding in plain sight. Basically, he's like, I know everybody thinks I'm a joke. I know everybody thinks I'm not a real hockey coach. I'm just some club donkey, but fucking watch me. Like, now look at him.
That's big dick energy at that point. Like you said, now look at him. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but you don't have somebody like that at UNLV. You don't have necessarily a hockey-centric person
That
to
just
drive
loves
the
the
bus
game,
and doesn't need to call somebody and say, hey, can you help us get money? Like, Powers had the resources, the network, to get the money and handle both sides of it. So I hope it happens.
Yeah.
I hope UNLV goes. I hope USC, UCLA, Oregon.
Yeah.
Like, build out that whole.
Yeah.
I think it'd be, and then
They would have a sick
your Alabama and get SEC. Imagine some SEC.
Some of
D1
those
teams.
clubs.
I wonder if
Like-
Alabama would go sooner than later.
What if they had an SEC?
Again, it's just,
like-
do you have a hockey-centric person there that's like driving the bus to make
No,
it
it's
happen?
all football, though.
Yeah.
And they have unlimited money. They don't need the money.
No,
Yeah,
they got all the money.
You
But
just
it's
need somebody that wants to do it and is
Well,
the guy to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the hardest part too. But I mean, could you imagine if some of those schools had D1, like Oregon, Alabama? Like, I've seen some club teams pack barns. Like, it's unbelievable.
When I was talking to somebody, I think yesterday, and they're like, if that happens, like, that's going to kill a lot of Minnesota schools. Like, that's going to kill your traditional hockey schools. I think it was somebody I was talking to last night, and they were like, that would suck for the Sioux.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
like,
they'd be screwed.
Like, do you want to go to Alabama? Do you want to go to LA? Do you want to go to Tempe? Or do you want to go to Grand Forks?
yeah.
I'm gonna go to Arizona where there's 10s all around me.
Right? Like,
Does Florida have a D1 team? Hockey?
No.
The fuck are they doing down there?
Tampa, they should make a D1 hockey team.
Miami? Like, can you say, like, yeah, I'm going down to play D1 hockey at Miami?
But
I mean,
think it'd
and
be-
look how successful the Panthers and Lightning have been. Like, they've been,
Can we talk about the Panthers for a second? Are they winning the cup this year?
Dude, they might with the trades they've been doing.
I hope so. I'm a big Chucky fan.
Yeah.
So I coached against him like at the U16 level. And we were in their barn in St. Louis at the time. And I distinctly remember like my players turn around and be like, Coach, who's going on? I was so distracted watching him he was 15 playing on the U16 team and was just the most filthy, like in a dirty player, awesome way. Like he did all the dirty veteran shit.
Yeah.
Like he was playing wing, but he would line up to take the draw every time just to hack and whack and get them both tossed so that his center was coming in
actually
now
come
and
in.
taking the draw against the winger on our
What
team.
a fucking goon.
At 15 years old, you're that savvy to do that behind every play, slash, spear. And I'm like, I love this kid so much.
I want
You're a Marchand fan, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate that.
I
piece.
hate playing against him, but God, if I was on that guy's team,
Oh, I would love him to die.
I love him. So my older daughter, she's a little soft and like timid. My younger one's a little bulldog. my older one, and I'm trying to teach her to, be a little bit more aggressive when she plays. And they play, so she plays on a boys team, but they play a couple times a year against an all girls team. And the girls are like older and they're bigger. And we dummy them by 10 goals, and they will start taking runs at my squirts. These girls will. So I told my daughter, Reagan, I'm like, hey, I need you to stand up for the boys because they're not going to go and hit these girls. Like, you need to, and my daughter's tall, and I'm like, you need to be able to run one of these chicks over. She's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But anyway, I made her watch a full Marchant highlight reel on the way to the rink. I'm like, you got the Kachinas tonight? Because that's the girls' team. I'm like, you gotta be an asshole. Like, if it needs to be, if they start getting mean with the boys. She's like, I don't know, go here, watch this. I go, just don't lick anybody's face.
It helps with the cage and limits them to it.
Oh, yeah, I'm a big Marshy guy, and Chucky. That's my speed all day.
I think they got it. I think the Panthers got it this year. I mean, they just traded for some unbelievable.
I mean, the Wild are definitely done so. Traded Duhaime,
dude,
for
that's
2026 third round.
I did not keep up with all the last minute trades last night and today. Because the deadline was 3 p.m. today?
Yeah.
I think the deadline was.
3 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Maroon's gone. Boston.
Yep. We re-signed.
Patty's in Boston?
Yeah.
I'm so excited. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm a big Patty fan, too.
I love when he came and I was like, yes. He can't skate.
He can win.
Can't fucking skate.
He can't skate. He
But
doesn't
that's
need to
right.
skate.
No, he doesn't need
He's
to.
got 3 fucking cups, bro. Like, what?
I love it.
Go win with Boston, bro.
Yeah.
So when we hosted the Robbie Cup in 07, we were talking before we went on with Coop and stuff, and that's when Patty was playing for Coop in St. Louis. And at the time that year, Pat had set the scoring record for the NA that year. And but I remember I was up top watching him one game, and he couldn't escape out of the corner to his backhand. And nobody had ever identified him. And I'm like, holy fuck, did I just see that? Then I watched him the rest of the time. Like, he can't get out of the corner on his backhand. And sure enough, I'm like running down to the locker room, or I'm telling our guys for our next game, I'm like, force him to his fucking backhand. He can't go to his backhand. He did everything else when he had 104 points that year or something.
Now the guy can't score a goal to save his fucking life.
I love it, though. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's a
solid.
locker room guy, man.
Absolutely.
Locker room guy. 1,000. 3-time Stanley Cup.
Dad
He's got to be one of the
now
most
and everything.
decorated
It's awesome.
players in the NHL, like, ever. It's fucking impressive.
Yeah. I can't believe he went to Boston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I don't know. Who the
I should have had my sports podcasts on instead of listening to Rogan the last 2 days all the time in the car.
Rogan's good, though.
Yeah.
Hello, Joe Rogan.
He had Kevin James on today. I was listening to that one.
Did he really?
That had to
Yeah.
be funny.
It wasn't quite getting there. It was very like low key. It was good.
think they just get
Riley
baked
Gaines
and
was
just
on
kinda go at
yesterday.
it.
What's that?
I was just gonna say I feel like they just get baked and just kind of chat of whatever fucking comes.
Yeah,
across
but I
the
don't
table.
think that like Kevin James. I don't think that's his speed, right?
Oh, I suppose.
You know.
He's slow.
Riley, was it Gaines or Grimes, whatever, the chick swimmer that got into all the trans stuff,
gender thing.
Yeah. So, yeah, she basically a couple years ago when that Leah Thompson, so the guy that became a chick that was competing, she was the one that like came in second to him and basically ended up being kind of the voice of that whole thing. She was on Rogan yesterday. It was a pretty interesting conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should start talking about that shit.
Yeah.
You can really get people pissed off in
Oh,
the
yeah.
comments.
Oh yeah. No shit. That's what I mean. Like, it's so close. It's so tempting sometimes just to like talk about some out of pocket shit or just like, you know what I mean? Like, it just goes back to everything.
We're no Joe Rogan yet, though.
We'll
One
get
day.
there. We'll
You'll
get there.
One day.
Yeah.
One day. Then we just don't give a fuck. But
we
now we got to kind of care.
Yeah.
You got to cater.
Yeah.
Got to cater a little bit.
A
That's
little
all
bit
right, though.
Yeah.
That's right.
So how's your guys' business going on the real estate side?
It's good. It's solid. We have a lot of things that are like right there.
Yeah.
And they just kind of keep inching away from you, and you're just trying to reach for them. I know Nate for a fact has quite a bit that's just right in reach, but it's just a centimeter too far, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I've had
It's this close to like grabbing a 10.
Yeah.
Just can't get it.
Keeps shimmying away from you a little bit.
Sure, you can't tickle her there.
Slide down the bar.
It's like you're in the friend zone. And you just
You're in the friend
can't
zone.
get out. And you're just like, come here.
So are you guys focused more on listing side, buying side? What's generally your cup of tea or kind of whatever?
Mine's buy side 1,000% right now. I did partner with a developer.
Okay.
So we got land out in Oak Grove, St. Francis, East Bethel, new development going up in Linwood. So I'm kind of going into the new new con.
Okay.
If I can do 10 of those
Yeah.
a year,
Yeah.
that's $700,000. See ya.
Yeah, you're golden.
Golden.
Made your couple $100,000 and good money.
See you later.
Yeah.
Maybe bag like a double doink, buy sell on one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Done.
Sweet. So how long have you been in it?
Coming up on 2 years.
Okay.
I was at Keller Williams for about a year and a couple months or so. 200 agents in my office. Hated it. Felt like a number. I got all mad because I did an open house for a builder that had like a Remax agent. That was like his main thing.
Really?
And they like made me sign papers. And I'm like, y'all tell me to do open houses.
Yeah,
And
you tell me to go out and work. I'm working.
I'm working, and now you're yelling at me. So I was just like, fuck you guys. Max made the switch to the Tyler Miller team like a month before.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in this open house for the Parade of Foams, and he's like, hey, man, come check out the Tyler Miller team. I was like, all right, sounds good. Walked in. They're doing like some fucking, it was during the Masters week. So they were doing like a team training with like putts.
We all had to make like our own little miniature golf course.
Yeah.
So Kayla, our COO, brought in like a blow dryer or a leaf blower.
Okay.
So you had to blow a little golf ball around. And Nate walks in, and here's Tyler with the fucking leaf blower. He's like, "Are you Nate?" He's like, "Yep."
right in my face. And I was like, at that moment, like in my head, I'm like, found the fucking right spot for me.
Tyler,
That's
he
the
seems
type-
like he's doing a great job. Like
he is.
build out.
He's a fantastic human being. I mean, at the end of the day, he knows how to run a business. I mean,
He's terrible at Warzone.
absolutely terrible.
What's Warzone?
Oh,
Are you
this
shitting
podcast
me?
is over?
Are you?
Oh, yeah, I don't play Warzone. I suck.
Is
at
it a video
but
game?
Yes.
Okay.
You know Call of Duty?
Yes.
That's Call of Duty, Warzone.
Okay.
It's just like a
Warzone is like
playoff.
the open like battle royale.
I
like
played the original Call of Duty back in the day.
you know, like
God,
you know
are fucking
Fortnite.
old.
I know Fortnite.
Okay,
I've
it's-
never
it's-
played Fortnite, but I know it.
It's like Fortnite but in Call of Duty, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
It's like big
The concept of it.
concept.
So
real
I
life.
really like the idea of gaming and I enjoy it, but I don't do it. And I
get
haven't had a last console I had. I don't even know which one I had. And I got the Ring of Death on my Xbox, and then like I don't play it enough to whatever.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
Hey.
But I love when I was playing juniors. We played a lot of it.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
all we did.
suppose.
We would wake up, breakfast,
Tiger Woods, man.
practice.
We turned the Tiger Woods game into a drinking game. So we was do match play, right? So you're just winning holes. Every hole that you lost, you had to chug a beer and do 10 push-ups. And we sit there and play T Woods for like 6 or 7 hours at a time. You do 1,000 push-ups and drink a whole case of beer by yourself.
You got to get jacked by the end of the day.
We were all jacked.
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome.
1,000 push-ups
And that's
and a
back
case of
when
beer?
you guys might be too young. The good hydroxycut before they outlawed it. We all lived on hydroxycut, which whatever it was, when did they outlaw it? Because I had a Fedra or something.
like a fat burner type.
Yeah,
thing.
but we would get jacked up on hydroxycut, drink fucking natty ice, and just crush push-ups
You would
because of
fucking
Tiger Woods.
drink natty
You are a
ice.
fucking. Yeah.
God,
Alaska.
Come on.
God, yeah,
I
I was
suppose,
here. That's
yeah.
probably all they fucking had.
What was natty or Bush, whatever whatever $11 12 pack.
Yeah.
was sitting there at the time.
Oh,
we'd
that's
get.
funny.
Yeah, now it's fucking $20 for a 12 pack. What a joke.
Dude, how do you guys like? Does anybody up here dip anymore? I went and got a can of Coke from the gas station. It was $12 for a can
It's
of
outrageous,
Copenhagen.
man. It's outrageous. Zins, like you fucking heard of those?
Yeah.
You had one?
Yeah,
They're not bad.
I take like way too fat of chews to do Zin. Like I only get 4 dips out of a can of Copenhagen. Yeah.
Yeah, you're fucking high.
You up
player.
Yeah. So that's what I'm like.
Double-decker?
I would quit if I was paying $12 a can. I'd quit dipping.
Yeah.
Like
it's
I would.
fucking.
I still pay
what is it in
$5 a
Arizona?
can. $5 a can. Still.
Really?
Like where I go, like but someplace like if you go near my office in Scottsdale, by
City
TPC,
areas,
it's
yeah.
like $10 a
So
can.
are you really right next to TPC then?
Yeah, we're a mile away.
No shit.
Yeah, so like for waste management, like we
Yep.
throw
saw
a
that,
party
yeah.
at the office basically all week. So everybody pre-games and post-games there, and then we shuttle guys down to the course so you don't have to worry about
So sick.
all the bullshit down
How
there.
messy was
sweet.
that this year?
It was crazy. So I had a package out there this year. And it was fun, but it was a mess.
Yeah.
I didn't go on Saturday. Like I never go on Saturday because it's always a shit show, let alone this year. But it was fun. It was
It was just a good time. Go drink,
The weather
watch golf,
sucked.
and
Yeah, that's
The
what I
weather
was
sucked.
heard.
generally it's unbelievable though. So I've gone every year for the last, I don't know, 10 years. But generally I've got people taking me out, like mortgage insurance companies, title companies,
Right.
you know, realtors, whatever. This is the first year that I bought a package that I had complete control over to take people out. And it was awesome. And I actually sold like 4 of the tickets for Saturday and like 2 for Wednesday and got half of all my money back. So the package cost me like $8,500. I sold those 4 tickets on Saturday for $3,000 and then 2 on Wednesday for $1,000.
See, that's so nice.
Yeah.
And then it only covers half of it, and you still get to go bring wherever you want
and then
out. And like
the Sunday ones, like I donated a pair. Like my kids go to a private school down there, and they have like a dinner and auction, thing once a year. Like I donated like 2 of the passes in the auction that got auctioned off. I donated another pair from Sunday. So like all the Sundays I gave away. I sold the Saturday ones and Wednesday ones and part of the Wednesday ones, but it was awesome. I really enjoyed going out there. Have you guys ever been?
no, never been there.
I had a lender that just went actually this year. He said it was a shit show. He said like when he went Saturday, nobody was checking tickets.
Oh yeah. So they got what had happened there. They got so backed up on scanning people to get in that it became unsafe of the corral of people just trying to get in.
Yeah.
And people were getting so pissed that they were trying to leave. Like, fuck it, we're not going to go in. It was so packed they couldn't leave to go out. Like people were literally stuck
everybody was trying
there
to get in.
for
Wow.
hours. That's why they said, fuck it. And they opened the doors and just let everybody in. And as soon as everybody got in, they shut the doors down and then they cut off beer sales.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's wild.
I wonder if it's
That's a
going to
lot
change
of
for
mess.
next year.
They're going to have to do something
There's
different.
got to be a system.
They got hammered too bad.
Thoughts
that
on throwing the
not-
beer around?
Like on 16?
Yeah,
I think if they
That's
get
fucking-
a hole in one, I think it's
it's-
awesome. I
yeah.
think the players love it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
But like,
On a
I
regular
think there was
shot.
a couple times where they got like a par.
Yeah, no, it's got to
That's-
be. I think it's got to be a hole in one. Hole in one, go ape shit. Like
Yep.
what was it last year, or the year before they did, and it took like an hour for them just to clean up the hole to
Yeah.
resume play. Like I'm good with that. I think
Yeah.
everybody generally was.
I
fine
think
with
that's
I
that.
cool.
would say so.
I think
But it's
that's
got,
cool.
like you said, it's got to be a hole.
But I think
Can't
there was
be
somebody got like a
or-
par.
Yeah.
And that, like just 100 beer cans.
And it's
I'm like,
all
what are you
depends
doing?
on like where you're at there, like where you got your passes, where you're,
Right.
if you're in the all inclusive stuff, generally it's low key, even on 16. Like if
Yeah.
you're in the suites on 16, which I was on 16, Thursday or Friday this past year, I had a buddy that had an extra pass over there. It's low key, but you get in the GA part of 16, like everybody you see on TV that's dressed up as bananas. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
Like it's a shit show.
Yeah.
And then walking around is a shit show.
Oh, I suppose.
Yeah. But there's also a ton of rockets, like done up to the
It's a
tilt.
fun. Yeah, it's a fun week.
Like
it's a fun
good
weekend,
food.
but
It's generally unbelievable weather.
Yeah.
But and the rain, it's fun. You see these guys sliding in the mud, and
Yeah.
and every chick that's done up to the T's, like, and half their bodies covered in mud because they ate shit and they're
Yep.
white, mini skirt.
Wearing their fucking high heels
Yeah.
out there and they can't walk down a little hill.
I took my wife out this year. Was the first time she had been out.
What are your thoughts?
She enjoyed it. So we did Wednesday, which was the pro-am.
Mm-hmm.
The weather was so bad in the morning, they immediately canceled the pro-am. So you're there all day with no golf going
That
on.
sucks.
She had a good time. And then we had tickets for the Bird's Nest that night, which is the concert venue that they have on property, to see Hardy and Bailey Zimmerman that
fun.
night.
What a
And
fucking concert
we
that
were
would be.
we were there only for a little bit, and my buddy got half suckered, and
Oh, no shit.
yeah, he was he was standing by me. He was gone for 90 seconds, and he came back and was just nose blown up, mouth blown up. He had no idea what happened. So yeah, we didn't really get to enjoy the concert.
Yeah. That.
Did you guys go find the pieces of shit?
No, it's packed. Like it's just and it's dark. It's mayhem. It's
Yeah.
like you can't find anybody. We just got him out of there.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
That fucking.
Then
sucks.
proceeded to walk a mile back to my office at 10 p.m. All
Depressed.
goozed up.
and
Yeah.
fucking-
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, we'll have to get you down next
yeah.
year.
That'd
Yeah.
be fun. Yeah. Let us know.
down.
We'll book out the weekend and make it a week.
It's
trip or
always
something.
the week of the Super Bowl. So
Yeah.
whatever that is,
Yeah.
book it because I'm going to
Cool.
get a package again this year. I had the 1937 Club package this year, which was it was cool. It was like right off of the clubhouse, so it was the only event space there, only whatever package that was actually curated by the princess. Like all the food was from the Princess Hotel and shit. It was nice. It was bougie.
Yeah. That sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
It's
yeah. It's bougie.
Yeah. See, I'm both
I can't-
sides.
I can't-
like
Oh,
on
yeah.
both sides. I'm
Yeah.
bougie, but I'm also like my wife.
Bougie in
she
hometown,
laughs.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, she's like, you are like you're bougie white trash. You are that white trash with money.
You've seen Selling Sunset on like Netflix?
I have by
Okay.
by accident.
If
like,
you
I don't
were
set up.
if you were comparing that office to your office, is it identical?
I don't know if I've seen their office, but our office is sick. We have a 3,000 square foot office, overlooks the Thompson Peak Mountains and TPC.
Stunning.
We got a TrackMan simulator in the office. We got beer on tap in the office.
Let's fucking go.
Okay, so
Call Tyler. We're done selling houses.
we got a pool table in the
Delta
office. We got
website right now, making my way down.
Yeah.
We do have a nice setup.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Awesome.
But
You've
it's cool.
worked
So
for
we
it.
we share it though, but we share it with the other team that's with cross country that we made the move kind of with. We share it with them. And then we've got a couple of independent cross country guys there as well. So but
Makes sense.
That's sweet. That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Are we at an hour?
Yeah,
yet?
we're gonna have to end it here. I got a showing at 4:50. How quick does that go though? Like, dude,
flies.
it
and
feels
we
like
barely, and I feel like we didn't even talk about that much.
that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, us three could have a podcast literally just every week of just like regular shit.
We might have to do a part 2 in Arizona, your office.
Or
Let's
like,
fucking do it.
zoom me in once a week.
Yeah, we'll zoom you in. You can be the
I'll do it.
host. Yeah,
I'm in.
Fuck yeah.
Let's fucking do it.
Do a side one. We'll have to name that one something different though. We can get into really filthy shit.
The home bros, some shit like that. The home bros.
Yeah, I could, and I'll be it as Chad Stallion. I won't be myself on it. I'll be the Len Bro, Chad Stallion, the Len Bro.
We'll have to come up with alternate.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for watching the M&M Talk Show. Tune in next week. We'll see you guys later.